Some people might disagree with this and get mad, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think that those who focus so much on the pennies really ain't making that much money. That's why they focus so much on the pennies. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Wrap Up. Hope everybody's weekend went well. Hope sales was good for y'all. Got a lot of stuff floating around in my head, man. A lot of stuff floating around in my head, but try to keep it like in line, one thing at a time. So, sales-wise for the weekend. Sales-wise, weekend, the best weekend so far for me since Q4 started. Let me see, hold up. As far as sales go, I had 230 sales total. The majority of which, of course, Amazon and eBay. Sales total. Where'd I put it? I had some notes on here. I know I should have wrote them down. Let me see. There we go. Sales total, $22.50. That's rounded up from $22.49. So, yeah. $22.50. But I do got a lot of stuff that I'm waiting to get checked in. So I feel like by the end of this month, going into December, I should have some really good weekend sales. And I ain't just counting throughout the rest of the week. But once all that stuff get checked in on Amazon, and I got a whole box of stuff here. I don't even remember how many items that is. That is 355 units. 355 units that I'm getting ready for Amazon. I'm still behind though, man. I'm still behind. As far as listing, I haven't been buying anything. I gotta stop. I learned to stop when I feel like I got a good backlog, and until I get caught up, unless something comes my way that's like really good, I wait until I start. Once I start getting, maybe when I'm working on a lot, I just say lot, but it could be a pallet, it could be whatever. Once I'm working on a purchase and I still have another purchase in the queue, then I start ordering again. As of right now, I'm working on one and I still got 4 in the queue. 4, and they're pretty like large counts. So I ain't even ordering nothing right now. Unless if somebody come up to me with something really good, I will. Anyway, I digress. Sales was good. eBay sales for me was good. Now we can go into all the factors of what can influence that whatsoever. eBay sales were pretty good for me. I have no complaints. Sunday, it was good. Friday, Saturday, Sunday seemed super slow and I didn't know what was going to happen. For the most part all day, nothing. And then towards the end of the night, it started picking up. And I even had about 4 or 5 sales today as far as eBay goes. So I'm satisfied with that. I only had listings go live on eBay from Thursday to yesterday. Besides that little 2-week interim I was telling y'all about. So it ain't like I've been listing, not necessarily by choice either, but it ain't like I've been listing crazy as much as I wanted to. So I wanted to talk about a few things, right? I wanted to talk about the sales on eBay, and I wanted to talk about as far as whether or not this whole promoted listing thing. I know a lot of you guys and gals who watch my channel also watch John's channel at Flipping Ain't Easy and Josh Galt. You might watch the eBay Power Hour. They had and I'm gonna try to work too. I got a lot of stuff to get done, so excuse me if it seemed like. But anyway, they had a good episode this past weekend. And in the comments, man, people, you know what I don't get? Why people get so emotional about some of this stuff. You know, people just talk so adamant about the whole, do some of the changes that eBay make, does it suck? It does suck, but in comparison to what? in comparison to what we're used to. Because, and I want to make this point before I forget it. Josh Galt made a point in his live earlier. And he said, what he was talking about was how newer sellers that's coming into eBay and that will be coming into eBay don't know anything different than what is happening right now on the platform. And he talked about how that will influence their mindset when it comes to selling on the platform. And the reason why I wanted to make sure that I remembered this point and brought this up, because it really, really like brought home some things that I already know, but you know how sometimes you know something, but you need to be reminded from time to time, right? So it did that for me, but it also just took me down that whole thought path of the fact that all these newer people, right? As of right now, you still have a lot of, older eBay sellers, people who've been on the platform for a while, like myself and Josh, and then you got the 20-year people and all that good stuff, right? But then you have a new generation of sellers that's going to be coming on the platform, right? And like Josh said, that this mindset is they don't know anything different, and so they're going to figure it out from where they're at. And there's a reason why this is important. While this may not have as much of an impact on some of you guys and gals right now in the short term, this is going to have a huge impact on those of you who are looking at this with emotions and who are not looking at this from a business perspective and reacting appropriately. And how is that? Well, over time, more and more new blood's going to come in, right? And what they're going to do is they're going to play the game according to the current rules of the game, which means they're not worried about promote it and how much it is. What they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, I can sell on here. What can I sell? Okay, this is how much it's going to cost with these fees. It's going to be 10, 12, 13%. I promote at this. This is the total amount. I'm looking at 20, 25% fees. Boom. What can I source that's going to make it worth it and still give me the percentage of profit that I want? It's that simple. It's seriously that simple. And those of you who are looking at it like I'm not doing it, honestly, you're probably, if you just want to be stubborn for being stubborn's sake, you're going to eventually go out of business. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to blame eBay and you're going to blame all these other things when it's really not eBay's fault. I'm not defending eBay. I'm looking at this objectively. When he said that, it just really made me think that like a lot of people are going to go out of business, not because they had to, but because they chose to, because they didn't want to take a business approach. eBay is making decisions based on what's good for eBay. I mean, I think you need to realize that. And so if they're making decisions based on what's good for eBay, you need to make a decision based on what's good for your business, not what's good for your emotions. I mean, I know in the comments of the Power Hour, some guy made a comment about how they doing all these sales and they don't promote, the usual stuff people put in these comments. I don't never promote. I make $1 trillion billion and y'all just stupid. It could be true, man. I just made the comment back. Hey, well, can you do us a favor and drop a link so that maybe we can see what we doing wrong? Yeah, you look, I always be sarcastic, of course. And, you can look at a person's store, though, and you can tell. I might not know your promoted and all of that, but I can tell if you making what you say you making. And it might be skewed if you use the out of stock option, like I do, but you can tell if a store got activity. And there's also some other ways you can tell too. There's some other things you can do. But look, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna preface this by saying this. If you don't need to promote, and if you're doing just fine without promoting, disregard what I'm about to say or everything that I'm saying. if you're doing just fine. However, I suspect that the majority of you are not. And so, what is the answer, right? What is the answer? My answer is this. I'm gonna tell y'all what my numbers look like real quick. So if you go to your advertising dashboard, that'll tell you everything that you need to know about what's going on with your advertising. So if I'm looking at my my advertising dashboard over the last 31 days, okay, impressions are up, and just let me say this again, just in case for y'all don't know, I typically was promoting anywhere from 2.5% to 5%. I changed it. I changed everything to a promoted dynamic, 10% initially, back down to 8% right now because I'm trying to see something. So, of course, my everything's kind of doubled. So, impressions are up 23%, clicks are up 44%, solds, this is the 31 days. Solds are up 5.62%. Sales are up 8.79%. Now, my ROAS is down over the last 31 days, but of course it would be because now I'm giving more. So over the course of 31 days, ROAS is return on ad spend. Over the course of the last 31 days is 21.16. But that's not going to stay like that. The next 31 days, when I get into that next cycle, I expect that to probably be half or so. But if I look at my last 7 days, my ROAS is 12.5%. But that's expected, right? Now I'm gonna go back to this 31% real quick. So my click-through rate is up 0.02%. My sales conversion is down a little, 2.85%, but that's okay for now. And this is the 31 day still. My average sold rate is up 2.39%. It's at 4.73. And my ad fees are up 119.71%. Now you might be saying, well, dang, that's crazy, right? But not really. I'm only at like $60. $60 in ad fees, which means I was only, because I'm kind of doubling what I was spending. Let me go back real quick. Average sold ad rate over 31 days is 4.73%. Now that's going to go up as some of that is going to be my old ad rate. So I expect that to go up, because even if I look at the last 7 days, I'm looking at 8%, which is fine. And my ad fees over the last 7 days is still only like $30, but it's up 62%. I mean, that's really nothing, man. That's really nothing. Honestly, it's really nothing for the extra sales. Okay, so that's all 31 day. If I go down to the 7 day, like I said, my return on ad spend is still 12.5. My solds are still up 12%. My clicks are up 18%, almost 19%. My impressions are up 23% over the last week. Everything is up except my sales conversion rate. That's down 0.42%, but that should go up. And my click-through rate went down 0.01% a little bit. So that's that funky stuff. That could even be due to the fact that yesterday was super slow for most of the day for me. Who knows? But my point being, you have to figure it out. And if what you are to have the mindset that you're just not going to comply for the sake of not complying is not how you run a business. It's not how you run a business. Okay? If you want to run a business, you have to be objective. You have to detach yourself from your own emotions and just evaluate your business based on the numbers. What is working? What is not working? And if it's not working, what changes do you need to make? And are you equipped to make those changes? Something I want to share with y'all real quick, right? This little weekend wrap up is going to be mostly about this. I mean, my sales and stuff is good. Oh, and then Walmart, glitch after glitch. Now it's telling me I ain't uploading my tracking, so I'm in the red on that. Despite the fact when I put in a support ticket to the non-existent support, I'm showing them like, and I know this is like sidetrack, but this is really ticking me off, man. I'm showing them that every last one of the tracking numbers show that it was scanned by the USPS the same day it was supposed to be shipped. You know what these folks gonna tell me in the message? Oh, you're uploading you're marking it as shipped without the item being shipped or something. I'm like, yeah, if I buy shipping through you guys, you generate a tracking number. You don't wait until after I go to the post office or whatever for the tracking number to be marked. That makes no sense. That does not happen on any platform. You print the label, you put in the tracking, and that's the valid tracking number. Upload it within 20. Dude, man, I don't know. I just had to vent that out. Thanks for listening. But anyway, let me see. So I asked a couple questions because I kind of had my idea of what I was thinking, but I just wanted to kind of see what I could get out of ChatGPT. So one of the questions I had asked was of 3 examples of companies that faced change in the market and almost put them out of business, but made changes that led to success. So the 3 companies that it gave me as examples: Apple, IBM, and Netflix. And then for Apple, it says in the 90s, Apple faced a decline in market share and financial struggles. The company was on the brink of bankruptcy. Apple underwent a major transformation when Steve Jobs returned as CEO in 97. Under his leadership, the company introduced innovative products like iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad. The focus on design, user experience, and ecosystem integration played a crucial role in Apple's resurgence. For IBM, it said their challenge was in the 90s. They were struggling due to rapidly changing technology landscape, increased competition, and financial losses. What was their change? They shifted their focus from hardware to software services and software. They shifted their focus from hardware to services and software. The company embraced the era of enterprise computing, emphasizing consulting, software, and services. This strategic shift helped IBM regain stability and become a leader in the IT industries. And then Netflix, they talk about how Netflix changed and pivoted to their streaming model, subscription model. And we know Netflix even made a further pivot when they started doing their own movies and shows and things like that. So constantly evolving, right? Something else. So then I asked, and this is stuff that I just kind of wanted to like stimulate my own thoughts. So I asked, on a platform like eBay, if a seller refused to adapt to changes in the platform and its algorithm, what's some of the negative consequences? We already know what they could be, right? But it says decreased visibility. Search algorithms on platforms like eBay determine product visibility. If a seller doesn't optimize their listings according to the new algorithm, their products may be less visible to potential buyers. This can lead to a significant reduction in sales. Reduce ranking in search results. Sellers who adapt to the platform's changes and follow best practices may receive higher rankings in search results. On the other hand, those who resist these changes may see their products pushed down in search rankings, making it harder for buyers to find, right? And there's a couple more that really ain't related to that, but another one, missed opportunity. Changes in the platform may introduce new features, promotional opportunities, or marketing tools. Sellers who refuse to adapt may miss out on these opportunities, limiting their ability to a wider audience or promote their products effectively. Financial impact. Ultimately, the refusal to adapt can have a direct impact on the seller's bottom line. Reduced visibility, lower trust, and missed opportunities can lead to decreased sales, affecting the seller's overall revenue and profitability. And then I had asked one more thing. In a situation where eBay introduces an ad rate and the seller's sales decline, conventional business wisdom would suggest what? Basically, sorry. I asked, if you're selling items on eBay before, hold up. Okay, if you're selling items on eBay before eBay had ad rate as part of their algorithm and platform, and your items sold just fine, but eBay adds an ad rate and now your sales are down, what would conventional business wisdom dictate as to what steps you should take and the consequences of not doing so? So I ain't going to read everything that it gave me back, but basically it said access and impact. Evaluate the impact of the ad rate on your overall cost and profit margins. Understand how the new ad fee structure has affected your advertising expenses, right? Adjust pricing and margins. You can explore other platforms, of course, that's a suggestion, but monitor competitor strategy is one of the things. Stay informed about how your competitors are adapting to the new ad rate. Analyze their strategies, pricing, and promotional efforts to identify areas where you can differentiate. Now, it might be a little bit harder, but we know, even though we don't fully trust eBay's suggested ad rate, that there has to be some grain of truth as to, or I don't know about truth, but there has to be something in there where other sellers probably are within that range, right? At least I would think. But the consequences of not taking these steps may include decreased sales, of course, right? Without adapting to the new ad rate and optimizing your strategies, your visibility on the platform may decrease, leading to decline in sales, reduced profitability, of course, loss of market share. If competitors adapt more effectively to the changes, they may gain a competitive advantage and capture a larger share of the market, leaving your business at a disadvantage, right? And there was just some other things that I put in there, but I wanted to actually read that and say that out loud for a few reasons. But one of the main reasons is that there was nothing in there about necessarily not paying for the sake of not paying, right? It's evaluate your business, see if your current model can sustain an increase. And if it can, well, what would that mean as far as the impact on your revenue, right? And profitability. If it can't, well, what can you do to change it? Can you go to some other platforms? Can you branch out to some other things? Evaluate your competitors. Also, if you're not going to do it, somebody's going to do it. And what is that going to mean? You're going to fall behind. You're going to fall behind. And so if you're serious about this, and if you're in this to win this, then the solution is not to keep, excuse my language, but to keep bitching about it, right? It's not. Not advocating. Here's what I'm advocating for. I am advocating for you to understand your business, understand the impact of promoted listings on your business. Again, if you don't need promoted listings because of what you sell, this does not pertain to you. I don't need some of y'all in the comments talking about, I don't use it, I make a billion trillion without promoting every day. I just do numbers, crazy numbers. And all right, cool, man. God bless you. You know, keep doing your numbers. This ain't for you. This ain't for you. I am talking about the majority of us who sell in pretty competitive categories, whether that's clothing, health and beauty, electronics, things like that, right? Not everybody's selling antiques and vintage stuff, right? The fact of the matter is this: evaluate your business and where you're at currently. What is your profitability? What are your margins? What is your revenue? How much of that are you willing? I wouldn't even say sacrifice, but I wish I could think of another word, but I'll say how much of that are you willing to sacrifice to continue to increase revenue? Again, my return on ad spend is still 12.5, which I'm perfectly fine with that. Whatever. Not only that, I've left the realm of only looking at how profitable my business can be based on just what I'm solely on what I'm selling. Because of things like I made $120 in interest last month off of my money market account. $120. Next month's going to be even more because all that money is compounded and I'm steadily putting more money in it every month. So $120, right? Back to my bottom line. I got money that I got coming off of my rewards points. I got other things like that. But my point is, let's just say you add another $100 a month to your expenses because of your ad rate, right? Well, one, besides sourcing better items so you can cover it, what can you do in your business to bring that money back to your bottom line? What investments maybe can you make, or what else can you do to bring that money back? Like, stop getting locked in just on, I got this item, I can only make $5 off this item, and if I give it to eBay, it goes down to such and such amount. Okay, well, what if you sell like 30 of these? Or what if you get something better than just this item? Sell out of it and be done with it. Or what if you find another way to compensate for the amount that you lose? I think you need to look at it, guys, from the aspect of look at your ad fees. Don't think about the percentage that you promote per se. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying promote willy-nilly. What I'm saying is look at your ad fees as a total expense. This is one of the things that I used to nickel and dime everything to the point where it would have me making bad decisions as far as my business goes, because I'm stepping over $1 to pick up a penny, right? And so even like with things like shipping, I don't look at necessarily how much it costs to ship something, because especially now with the ground advantage, because I know I'm saving. So I look at my shipping costs as an overall expense. Some items I lose on, but I bring some of that back on some of the other things that I save on. Look at everything as an overall expense and not necessarily on a per item basis. Although you should. You want to know how much you're making per item, of course. But what I'm saying is, more importantly, you go to your advertising dashboard. Look at your ad fees. If your ad fees are $50, I mean, seriously, is that if $50 is going to kill your business, man, and you need to either get out of business or really reevaluate some stuff. You know, it's almost as bad as the people who say they don't want to list nothing if they got a store. They don't want to list nothing if they reach their listing limit because it costs them more. That's what I mean by stepping over $1, pick up a penny. Like, dude, it literally, I think, depending on your store, it might cost you an extra 30 cents, 25 cents. I don't know. And if I got a premium store, I think it's like 10 cents. Regardless, let's just say it was 50 cents, right? You reach your limit. Bro, if you have to worry about a 50-cent charge, first of all, if you have a good enough store and you reached your limit and you're making sales and now you got more stuff to list, how dumb is it to wait to list that item if you know it's profitable? It's 30 cents. List the item and be on with your life. Look at it as an overall cost. Stop thinking about this one expense. Again, with the ads, if you look at your ad fees, right? Don't look at it, 10%. I ain't giving eBay 10%, or I think it's better to just look at the total expense. Right now, I'm looking at my total expense. Over the last month, matter of fact, I'm going to go over the last 90 days. Over the last 90 days, I have given eBay $114.88 in ad fees. That's it. $114. I mean, I literally made that an interest off of a money market account. And I'm not saying that all y'all can do that, but my point being is that's pretty much offset by one other thing that I did. But I mean, that's my point, is to think outside the box sometimes. So I look at that as an overall expense. What is my ad rate overall? Okay, last 90 days, $115. Last 30 days, $58. Last 14 days, $44. In the last 7 days, $27. So you might say to yourself, all right, out of my monthly revenue, you know, what's my profit? How much more of that am I willing to give? You might say, okay, you know what? Per month, I really don't want to spend more than $100 a month on ad revenue. I can afford that. And then I'll just start sourcing better items to pick up the slack for that, and then some, right? But we can't, and I'm only talking to those of you who are serious about this and who want, because Josh made a very poignant point. Josh, I just want you to know, man, I think that probably went over a lot of people's heads, bro. Went over a lot of people's heads. At some point, the new blood is going to be the old blood, and y'all old dogs who are stubborn are going to be out the game, because people are going to come in and look at it and see it for what it is, and they're going to be thinking of strategies that are way beyond what you're doing, way beyond, way more sophisticated, okay? Way more strategic about what they're doing, because for them, it ain't, I ain't giving up this much. It's, okay, they want this much for this, that much for that, that much for that. If I source this, that'll cover that. It's the same way when we sell on Amazon. For those of us who sell on Amazon, we know how much Amazon want. We know how much we make if we do a merchant. We know how much we make if we send it in FBA. And we'd be willing to take a cut for given certain factors, right? But if it sells, it don't matter. Or we might say, well, look, it sells this many times, so it's worth it. I mean, you got to figure out what approach you want to take for your business and why. So I can't speak to everybody's strategy, but the fact of the matter is, I really don't need nobody trying to tell me, like, because I don't look at eBay. Yeah, they tick me off sometimes and some of the things, but at the end of the day, they're doing what's best for eBay. I have to do what's best for my business. And what's best for my business is to understand how eBay is working and to adjust that to my business and make it work in a way that is still profitable for me. This is how you find solutions to problems. And this ain't even really a big problem. This ain't a big problem. This ain't a big problem, man. It really ain't. And the answer for some might be to change the items you sell. The answer for some, maybe just to stop being stubborn and just give up the extra money. I mean, I feel like people focus so much on pennies. And some people might disagree with this and get mad. But I'm going to say it anyway. I think that those who focus so much on the pennies really ain't making that much money. That's why they focus so much on the pennies. You can take it for what you want. You get mad at me. But I feel like those who are really making money and know how to make money, yeah, you might get blindsided. This ain't even a blindside with the promoted listings, right? But yeah, you might get hit with this or this fee or that might happen, but you just kind of adjust and rework your thinking after you get past the initial shock and you make it work, right? Those people who crying and complaining the loudest about they ain't giving eBay this and that, the sad reality probably is that they're not really making it happen, unfortunately. And it's sad because that does not have to be the case. And to just counter what eBay is doing with this obstinate refusal of, recognizing what's going on the platform and figuring out how you can make it work, instead of countering that with some real life solutions that can help your business survive and maybe even come out on top, it's just the wrong outlook. It's the wrong outlook, I think. And it's not an outlook that someone who knows business or even has a basic understanding of business would take, I think. And I only say this because some of these comments is just crazy, man. Some of it's just crazy. But I would say to you guys and gals, because I know a lot of y'all that watch this show, y'all are more savvy than the average person. But look at your advertising dashboard. That's where I would start. Look at your numbers. Don't just get mad and say, I'm not paying eBay nothing. Look at your numbers and take an objective view. Let me see. My ad rate is this. My ad fees actually ain't that much when I look at it on the whole, right? It ain't that much. Heck, I pay more than that on the phone bill. I pay more than that on my, who knows, miscellaneous subscription that you probably really don't need anyway, right? I'm pretty sure if you evaluated your business or even your personal life, there's money that you spend that comes in higher on a monthly average than your ad spend, but you waste it anyway. But then you'll complain about eBay and paying them extra money for promoted listings. And that's the crazy part. You'll go out and waste money. And if you was to look at that on your monthly base statement, you're probably like, dang, I spend that much on this? And that ain't even making you no money. At least this is making you money. And you have to look at it from the perspective of the return on ad spend. Look, as long as I'm making a good enough return, settle on what you feel is an acceptable. Me, I don't know yet. I'm going to give this another month or so before I can really see at the level I'm promoting what that level turns out to be, and then I'll decide how that is. But honestly, my goal is to always try to increase the average sale price, always try to increase. So I can't really say like that's something I need to do because that's something I'm always working on anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I sell lower dollar amount items, but if it ain't going to be working on eBay no more, that's perfectly fine. I'll list stuff at a certain dollar amount, but the other stuff I'll put on platforms like Walmart and Amazon where I know it will sell, and it'll sell over and over again, and it'll sell in multi-quantity. So it ain't no big deal. Like for me, it just might mean a shift in my way of thinking, or a shift in my usual strategies, or a change in some of the tactics that I use to carry out those strategies. Maybe the overall strategy doesn't change, but maybe just some of the tactics within that strategy might have to change. You know what I'm saying? But listen, guys, look at your ad fees as a whole. See what that amount is. Check your 30, check your 14 and 7 day, and ask yourself, okay, how much more am I comfortable giving at this current level that I'm selling at? And then what can I do in the interim or between time to change that and increase the amount that I'm bringing in on my bottom line? Because you don't have to, I don't think you have to promote over a certain amount before it just becomes you giving eBay money for no reason. We don't know what that number is. I would say 10%. I would say anything over 10% probably is unnecessary. I think you can get good visibility at 10% and have items move. So if you was going to do a dynamic, maybe set a 10% cap, 8% cap. I don't know. I think anything under 5 or 6%, and you down there with the bottom feeders, and you're going to be just one of the ones complaining. But if you look at your ad spend, you know what? If you look at your ad spend and it say something like 10, 20, 30 bucks, $40, and you complaining about paying like for promoter, what are you doing? Like seriously, what are you doing? You're complaining about giving up $40 in ad fees for what? You know why? Because you're probably not making that much money, honestly. You're probably not. Guys, don't step over the dollar to pick up a penny, man. Focus on the important things. And the most important thing isn't necessarily the ad spend. The most important thing is your return on ad spend. And if your return is too low, focus on higher selling items, whatever that may be. Only you know that, and you know what you can source. It takes some work. People don't want to do the work. They just want to be lazy. Look, eBay's not here to, eBay's not going to make changes based on what they think is best for us. I said this already a couple times. It's best for them. What are the changes you're going to make that's best for your business? And please don't let that include you just saying, I'm not paying them nothing. For the sake of saying, I'm not paying them nothing. Again, if you don't need to pay, promote it to sell, and you got great sales without it, carry on. But based on all the chatter in the reselling world between the groups and YouTube and all, most people, you're going to have to pay something, bro. But the price is really inconsequential in the big picture. The price is inconsequential in the big picture. It's way cheaper still than if you would try to do all of this yourself. It's way cheaper. And as they say, man, it's more than one way to skin a cat. eBay ain't the only one out there. But the thing is, like they brought up in Josh's live earlier about about Posh. And I never even thought about it. People don't complain about Poshmark. I sold on there for a few months and then I stopped, but it ain't for me. But I mean, it's 20%. Starting off at 20%. You know, I just think people get used to something, and when it changes, they don't like it, and they think that thing, whether it's eBay or whoever, owed us that. They don't. And I ain't mad at eBay. They get annoying sometimes. I ain't mad at eBay. They doing what's best for them. That's fine. That's perfect. What's best for me? Let me look at these numbers. Oh, you know what? I didn't even realize that my ad spend was so low. I am willing to spend more to make more. And that's how I'm going to look at it, guys. I'm going to look at my return on investment, and I'm going to look at my ad fees as a whole expense, not just, oh, I ain't doing 10%, I ain't doing 12%. If that's only coming in at $50, $100 a month, whatever, but I'm making 8, 9, 10 times more than that per dollar, common sense dictates that it's worth it. And if not, you'll be one of the ones out of business saying, blaming eBay. Oh, eBay used to be. In a lot of ways, I am very glad that eBay isn't the way that it used to be. Take that for what you will. In a lot of ways, I am very glad that eBay isn't the way it used to be. We all know what happens to a stale pond when the water just sits, right? We all know what happens when a business is stale and just sits and doesn't move and doesn't evolve. And some of those steps in its evolution are going to rub some people the wrong way, and some won't. But the ones who will continue to benefit from those changes will be the ones who can look at the changes and see how it benefits them or what they can do to take advantage of it. The fresh eyes of the new sellers that come in are going to see more opportunity because they don't know anything about the old way, which is a benefit to them. But those of us who have sold before and seen the old way and can't take our eyes off of that and focus on the new way and how it's going and how we can benefit, if we only stay focused on that old way, we will not survive on the platform. We will not. And I take it personally as far as like, not nothing none of y'all say or nothing like that, but I take it personal as far as like being challenged, whether I'm challenged from a situation or I'm challenged from a person. Like I take that personally, like I can't do something, right? So, and this isn't even really a challenge per se. This is just a change. It's not a challenge, but I think a lot of us have made it a challenge. But it's kind of the main thing I wanted to work on or talk about for the weekend wrap up, man. Because what I'm gonna say about Amazon. I'm not having no issues there. No issues with sales. Walmart is glitchy like Walmart, but my sales was ridiculous this weekend. Crazy. So, I'm making money. And in eBay, I ain't even got no complaints about eBay this weekend. Since I increased my promoted. Heck, and guess what? Not only did I sell more this weekend, it only cost me $27.72 for the week. That's what I'm looking at. On my last 7 days, my ad fee is $27.72. I can live with that. eBay is like, at this point right now anyway, eBay is like, I don't want to say like, even though it's like the third platform as far as my revenue goes, I still need, for the stuff that I put on there, I still need it to sell. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not putting it on there for it not to sell. I still need it to sell. It's the reason I'm putting it on there. And so eBay's that place where I just take the stuff that I know, all right, maybe I can't put this on the Walmart and Amazon because either I'm gated or because there's a couple reasons, right? It might be imperfect. Usually that's the main reason. There's something wrong, right? So I really need that stuff to sell because I need to get as much out of that as I can too. But so I don't really look at it like, man, I just can't pay eBay this because this is crazy. Okay, this is the way it is. It only cost me $30, an extra $30. That's fine. And honestly, I'm probably willing to double that. I don't want to say triple, but I'm probably willing to double that if it'll mean more sales. But the only thing is, when I look at that rate, if my conversion rate is still down, that's not eBay's fault. So like if my impressions are up and my fees and stuff are up and my clicks are up, which they are, but my conversion rate and my click-through rate is down, which they are, but very little. Like I said, the click-through rate is 0.01% down and the conversion rate is down 0.43%. So that can be anything, right? Only thing that would concern me is if my ad fees was going up, my impressions was going up and my clicks was going up, but my click through and my conversion was down like multiple percentage points consistently over time, then that would mean something's wrong with either my listings or my products, right? Because if I'm getting the exposure and it's out there and I'm getting the clicks, but ain't nobody buying, then that would be something's going on with me. So that's what I'm going to kind of pay attention to. So again, I would be okay with at least doubling my ad fees at the moment, as long as my click-through and conversion doesn't go down too far and my impressions and clicks and solds stay up, which they're up. Impressions are up, clicks are up, solds are up. And like, again, Sunday could be the reason for such a small dip in my conversion rate. Who knows? I don't know. But those are the three main things I'm focusing on, guys. Those are the things you need to focus on. If you're listening to the negativity, guys, that's what you're going to get. You're never going to be able to solve a problem if all you're listening to are people who are not interested in solving a problem. If all you're listening to are the whiners and complainers and all of that, you're never going to find a solution because their minds are not focused on finding a solution. Listen to the people who know what they're talking about. Listen to the people who are saying, okay, this is what it is. Now let's figure it out. Now let's see what works, what might not work. Again, it's going to be different for each person, each business, so on and so forth. But we can come up with some sort of general consensus, right, of kind of the sweet spots and what we see through communication, right? What we see working the best most of the time, maybe. But I don't really want the negativity. If you got something negative to say in the comments, I mean, you can drop it in the comments just for the algorithm. That's fine. I'll respond. I usually respond anyway. I don't care. I'll go back and forth with you for a minute. But don't tell me about how much you're doing if you ain't going to share some data at least. Like, and not just in your comments. Maybe show a screenshot or something. Or how about this? If you're going to say something contrary, how about explaining yourself? And this ain't to the people who don't need promoters in certain categories. I'm just saying everybody else. People just want to talk stuff just for the sake of like talking. Listen, man, my business is doing good. I don't know about y'all's. I know people like John and them, they're doing good, but those are people who are action takers, who don't just sit there and argue with the facts for the sake of arguing with the facts. John, like they just see what it is. Yeah, it might suck, but okay, this is what it is. Let's make some changes and see how we can benefit off of it. If this is the new way that the algorithm is going to work, where it's giving preference to these, how can we leverage that to our advantage? That's how you start to grow your business and solve things and come up with some solutions that can either still keep you profitable or propel your business forward, you know? Well, who am I, man? I'm just a guy on YouTube. Anyway, y'all, I got to get my stuff stocked up, work on this Amazon shipment. I still got to go to UPS, and I got a lot of work to do. But focus on the facts. Don't let your emotions get involved in this. This ain't about your emotions. You know what I mean? This is about dollars and cents. And if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.